This episode is brought to you by the RVA Podcast Network. Find more information at rvapodcast.org.
We do not own the rights to anything or any music that's heard during the duration of this podcast. Also, a lot of these shows will have explicit content. So if you are not a fan of any cursing or profanity, you may want to walk away, but that does not mean that every show will consist of such. Welcome to season 6 of The Pass, BT. Didn't think we'd get here, but here we are. Show going a bit of a different direction, as you may have noticed near the end of season 5. Sports is still a thing, but not as much. You'll get more information about what's going on in the tech world, what's going on in the music world. We actually have kind of gotten rid of Ass of the Week. Once in a while, you may get one here and there, but I still want to stick with the main gist of passing the message to you all. So take your time, but don't waste your time as you sit and enjoy a new season of The Pass with your host, BT. Episode 359 of The Pass is here. I am your host, BT. Back at a location that I would never have expected to be back at, but here we are.
Here we are.
I don't even remember the episode number that she was on before. Last time I had her introduce herself, and it was so subtle and so relaxing.
That part.
But both of our lives literally have evolved in a 3-year window. So I'll do it, and I'll play the reverse card of I'll do the introduction, and whatever I leave out, you can throw in and follow up with.
Okay.
So longtime friend, Mike, when she don't know it.
I know it now. I didn't know it then. I know it now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
IT professional, techie, confidant, someone that's gotten me on the right path when I was all over the place.
Thank you.
Has had some authentic conversations with me when I wasn't ready to hear it. And coincidentally, circling back to talk now because she wants to bring her podcast back to life. So we're going to introduce Maiesha to the show.
Hey.
How's things going? What's been new?
Mm-hmm.
How you feeling? I got a unique check-in I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna let you do the intangibles first, and then we'll talk about it.
All right.
How you feeling? All right?
I'm feeling good. I'm grateful. I'm happy. I'm in this plane of existence, and I can't believe it's been 3 years. I was thinking more like 2. Yeah. But you gave me a couple of receipts, so like one thing about those, they don't lie.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited to be here. Thank you again. Everything comes full circle, child, I swear, because it was like we can get into that later. But this is me being obedient, and so I wanna I pride myself more now than ever to be obedient to the Most High, which is ultimately why we're all here. So
yeah.
I've been good. I'm good. Thank
you.
Indeed.
Yeah, no doubt. So I'll give the abbreviated but the unique like timeline, because I like you know me. I'm a timeline guy.
Right, I know.
So you invited me on when you were doing a radio show at that time.
Mm-hmm.
A couple months later, it was like, oh, I want to come on the podcast. It was like, all right, I'll come on the podcast. Cool, yeah, sure. Came on the show. Talk. Got your info out there, who you were.
Right.
And probably about less than a year later, you started your podcast.
I did.
We had to go for quite a few episodes.
We did.
Took a break for solid reasons. Had quite a bit happen. You were able to give me, and I think like I said, I talked about it a little bit earlier. Mm-hmm. You gave the confidence to me of like, Brian, get into IT, make this your thing. If you're trying to do it now. And ironically enough, in that time period, I've had a job or two, and now I'm where I'm starting to
flourish and evolve. So
absolutely,
it's definitely appreciated. So I did mention earlier about the check-in. So there's a thing that I do where I like to do. We call this the Fab Five. It is 5 different feelings. I'll let you write them each down. It's going to be mental, personal, professional, creative.
You are going fast. Mental, personal,
professional, creative, and feeling. So for the first 4, you want to rate each one on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
1 being I ain't there with it. 10 is I'm on fire.
Oh yeah, I'm with the shits. A pro for mental, I'm with the shits.
Yeah.
A con for mental, I'm with the shits. Okay.
So give you 1 through 10 for each of those, and then for the feeling, just a 1-word feeling for how you feeling. Okay.
Mental, I think I knocked that one out the box, right?
But
1 to 10, I'm good. Personal, I would say probably about an 8.5.
Okay.
Personally, I'm evolving. Professionally, 8, 9, 10 too. You know, I'm in IT, so it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Creative, that's probably about a 6.5, 7, because although I'm a very creative person, a content creator, I have content for days. My schedule is so tight and limits me. So I would say probably about a 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Feeling, how I'm feeling?
Yeah, 1 word. Any like angry, pissed, annoyed, loving. Living.
My favorite word, if you follow me, if you don't, you need to. My favorite word is grateful.
Grateful. True.
Yeah, grateful.
You're right. All right. So I'm going to give you grace on one of your ratings because you run a group, a couple of groups. You post content like every day.
I do. I'm getting better.
Yeah.
With my, I'm getting better.
Posting content, doing live. I've been seeing the lives. I try to catch the lives when I can.
Okay.
So I'll give you like a 7.5.
Okay. 8. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have more content for next year. Like that's definitely high on the list.
Okay.
Of things to do professionally and entrepreneurially and personally. It's just to be more vigilant, be more visible, where people can see me. You know what I'm saying? So being able to put a face with a post, put a face with with a post. Yeah.
Okay. So I just love how stuff just happens like coincidentally.
Right.
Because when I was on the show, when we did the show last time, you had an event that you were speaking at.
Okay.
And we talked about the event and how everybody was emotional. And it was not emotional, but you definitely emptied the clip, as we called it at that time.
I stayed empty in the clip.
Right. This time, you just finished a women's retreat.
Oh, I did.
You've been doing so much. Yeah, I'm
like, where's he going with this? But go ahead. This is good.
So you did the women's retreat, and a lot of emotions, a lot of care, a lot of consoling. Without giving, because obviously they need to be there to get what it's about. Without giving too much of the tea, share in your form what the experience was like for a lot of what went on.
Oh my God. First and foremost, thank you for bringing that up. You know,
realize I was going.
I didn't realize that, and it goes to my credit, honestly, because that was the furthest thing from my mind that that I even thought we were going to talk about. But since you mentioned it, it was definitely. I'm so grateful to the Most High, right? You know, some people. I mean, we can get into that another day, another night on my show, right? But I'm so grateful for Spirit for number one choosing me with the gift, right? A lot of folks have been called, will be called, but only a few of us will definitely be chosen. Only a few of us will answer to the call. And so that was something that Spirit said back in January of this year that's what I would do. I would host a retreat. I will host my my inaugural retreat. It was a retreat filled with family, friends, clients, potential clients, a few strangers, about 30 people in total. And it was a phenomenal experience. I rented a 10,000 square foot beach house
Right.
on the beach, and it was absolutely amazing. We had a private chef. We had a couple of speakers. I spoke. We had some workshops. We had a photographer, so we did two photo shoots.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of healing. Obviously, we had some hard conversation. We did some meditation, sound healing on the beach.
Right.
It was absolutely amazing. Matter of fact, I'm hosting my second one.
Yeah, that's why I did that. Go ahead.
Yeah, the second one. The second one. I didn't know, right, that it was going to. I honestly, some people be like, okay, you being modest. You didn't know it was going to do what it did. Like, it sold out.
Yeah.
You know, I set out for about 30 people,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more, give or take, with everybody in number. It allowed me to know, confirm, affirm who I am, why I do what I do, and
Right.
what obedience looks like, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm hosting the second one in Georgia.
Okay.
In April. And I invite anyone. The marketing is out. The registration is open. The title, the theme for the next one is The Altar Within. Don't want to really what we say? Unpack the clip, right? We don't want to unpack the clip just yet because this is not one of those type shows, but just kind of bring people up to speed where I am, what I've been doing, and ultimately where I'm headed.
Right.
So
to give y'all a visual, because y'all know I'm always about visual.
yeah,
We started the show, and initially the microphone was like equally between us. But if you heard and noticed, it's closer to her because as the A mic reference is, it's working for its cause.
Oh yeah.
So it's working. I'm just giving you grief of knowing like you're doing what you're doing, and you know it's time to get back to it.
It's time to get back to it. Yeah.
So I will get, and we'll talk about it off air to get the website.
Okay.
However, if you want to share it now,
The website for the retreat,
for the upcoming retreat.
So yes, new retreat, The Altar Within Retreat.com, MaieshaHawkins.com. You can, get there. Follow me on IG. I am Maiesha Hawkins. That is spelled MaieshaHawkins. Not really hard to find out there. Just put in Maiesha Hawkins.
Yep.
So yeah.
They're all comfortable doing the podcast. I'm just happy to be here.
I'm not as nervous. Am
No,
I?
you're not. No.
Like, if you see, I'm burning some incense. Actually, some rinsing. It's a benzone, so I'm setting the energy. You know what I'm saying? Definitely in my element, a lot more confident.
Yes.
In my speaking, my delivery, and in my calling. And so that's probably the energy physically and spiritually what you see and feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so the last 3 years have been very personal to me. A lot of transformation took place. A lot of transformation is still taking place. And it's weird because today, I was telling you before you got here, I did a acupuncture session, and I've been on a journey, 7 years, first 2 years kind of as a runner. I was a runner. We can get into that later. This is some of the content we're going to talk about, right? And so last 5 years with really, really, really intensely with the first 2.5 years privately where no one knew. But with the last 2.5, 3 years going into everyone knows.
Right.
It's no secret that
if you know, you know. That's what I meant to say, my bad.
If you know, you know, right?
I didn't cut y'all.
Oh, you good. So yeah, if you know, you know. If you don't know, we'll probably circle back to it. The next, this next season of the podcast gonna look a little bit different.
Okay.
It's gonna probably be a lot more just me talking about certain things as it pertains to spirituality, as it pertains to healing.
Right.
I will invite a few folks here and there.
Right.
It's crazy because my co-host, remember my co-host?
Yes.
Right? His brother inboxed me, texted me or whatever, and said he had some content. And we're gonna get into all of that later, but needless to say, I'm back. Just a different formality, a different energy, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna give you the space. I'm about being a teaser, and I'm. It ain't even about being messy. It's about being real.
Oh yeah, you know me.
You made mention of the term "the journey."
Mm-hmm.
So I will be not blonde. I will be Brian because I know the main basis of it because I've known you and we've talked about it and we've had endless conversations related to it. Mm-hmm. However, in your words, between experiencing the journey, what the journey consists of, whatever information you want to share, giving you that floor to like kind of share what you feel is beneficial in sharing in what you've been doing or how that's rolled.
To be mindful of time, right? Mm-hmm. All of it is beneficial. Yeah. When we speak of, or when I speak of the journey, I speak of the spiritual journey. It's trending spirituality. It's trending. Everybody is quote unquote on the journey. And I don't challenge that. Everybody is on their own journey in this day and time.
Right.
However, moreover, with spirituality trending, it's just a big thing to do now, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's very beneficial because it's my whole entire life. And I share that very openly, very transparently. If there is a live I did where I get really emotional. There's a podcast I did where I think I got emotional on it because if you have experienced it, or if you have the opportunity to experience such a transformation in your life, it will bring you to your tears. It will bring you to your ankles, and it will bring you to tears.
Yeah.
So when I speak of the journey, I reference my transformation, and I say this very openly, very honestly, denouncing Christianity. And what I'm known, or folks like myself, we're known as spiritualists or omnists.
Okay.
Right? And omnist, OMNIST, right? Are people who do not associate or affiliate themselves with one particular religion.
Okay.
Moreover, we find some truth in all of them, and we cultivate a life that is very beneficial to us and not very orthodox and very strategic and very straight and very boxed in. And if you do this, then you going to quote unquote hell, or
right.
If you live like this, then if you sacrifice, like I got away from all of that shit.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I tell folks I stepped outside of a race. I began to heal a lot of my trauma, my mommy issue, my daddy issues, my friendship issues, my self issue, my relationship issues, and I really went in deep.
You tapped in.
Oh, I tapped all the way in. I
right.
tapped in so deep that even today, you talked about it a little bit, my acupuncture session.
Mm-hmm.
I had a very third eye opening experience,
right.
where if you get heavily in chills, when you hear me say chills, that's like the Most High. It's like, yup, you in the vein.
Look
that's
at
what
her
you're
giving
saying.
Context.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
My bad.
No, you good.
Continue.
Because I want to educate the folks along
Facts.
the way. You know
Absolutely,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
So angel chills is definitely. I'm a reader. We'll get into that later, right?
Yep.
But that's spirit saying, yes, this is accurate, and this will resonate with either you or someone who will listen to this, right?
Yeah.
And this will be for someone. And this is a timeless recording. So whoever listens to it, that's when you're supposed to listen to it. So, I had a very eye-opening, very heartfelt, third eye, pineal gland experience today, which just kind of made it come full circle.
Right.
Like it was the most beautiful thing that I had ever experienced on the journey, that when I came home, I was like, let me go on YouTube and try to find some context to support my experience, right? And so what I learned is you all of your chakras, and matter of fact, I'm all things holistic. I practice Reiki. I'm a Reiki practitioner, right? And so when you are going through meditation, it starts at the feet.
Okay.
So your root and goes
base,
all the way. Yep, base, root.
You
good.
Yeah, I was agreeing. My bad.
And it goes all the way up. So can you imagine being on the journey? Although I'm empathic, I'm intuitive, all that good stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know my third eye is open, but to actually see it,
right?
Let me tell you something. It hits totally different.
Yeah.
I had the biggest epiphany of life today at about 11:30, between 11:30 and 12:15.
Okay.
In that moment, to be able to operate from a higher consciousness and see that,
right?
You know what I'm saying? To see the that purple, you know what I'm saying? To see a image that appeared to be, I couldn't tell if it's a man or a woman. It didn't even matter. It just was purple, but it was very serene and very clear. And so it just makes the journey that much more valid. Gotcha. That's a good word. I can say valid. But that more valid, that more worth. It makes it all worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. I didn't mean to bar. I know you cool with it, but I'm just like, I'm making sure like I'm making sure like I want them to get your information of it and explaining it. So if I come in with like a word or two here and there,
so knock yourself out. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah, it's just us because we've talked without talking and talk because like to kind of give like the unique thing that got us to here today is like a few weeks ago I reached out and was like, hey.
Right.
Just checking in.
You literally was.
All I was doing was it was just a hi. It was not I was honestly like I'm saying this to you
I know.
with truth. I'm not. It wasn't like we gonna sit and do a podcast. I was like, I just wanted to talk and just check in with you.
You did.
In the process of talking, you brought it up. Was like, yeah. So and so asked about the podcast.
I know.
And I was like, oh. Okay,
and I have been thinking about it.
And I was like, whenever you're ready, you know you and you know where you at and what you're working on. So I fully get it. And you was like, all right, let's sit down and let's get the show going. And I was like, all right, let's
And here we are.
Let's circle back to it and make it a thing.
Did I not interject?
Yeah.
Was that a good response to the journey? I was just recapping.
That's a legitimate unpack. That was because that way you give people the understanding of, because for most people, and the biggest thing was ironic from when we did the podcast then, and even in doing shows with you as like guest / co-host / editor, all et cetera, et cetera. It's now like my biggest thing, and we talked about this before off mic. I'm a big fan of layman's terms. So as long as you giving the information in a layman's format so that someone understands like the main basis, like anything, you got to do your research.
Right.
Like when people, and I use this analogy because it's the truth. When you go to Google, you don't go to page 5.
You definitely don't.
Unless if you ain't found it on the first 3 or 4 pages, you go put a new name.
Google is impeccable.
Right. and using that word is ironic because when we did the show back then, like I went back and listened to the show this morning, and we did talk about the 4 agreements.
I matured? Haven't I matured?
That's an understatement.
Like I know I can only fuck you.
I mean, look,
that's an understatement.
No,
I get it. I take it. No,
but you know me now. If it was me back then,
really, you can tell the difference.
Yeah, I feel like wow. I think for you, I think now you just know where you're at with what you're trying to do, and I think the biggest key part of it is you don't care what anybody else thinks of it.
Cheers.
An added piece to it, which is ironic because I think we talked about it a little bit last week. I won't say that I have your words or terminology of it, but I think for me now, I'm starting to realize like I've considered myself as a free thinker. So I think like I do, there are things that I abide by and follow and flow, but then there's those times where I'm gonna learn something a little different, and you open your mind and you open your heart, open your spirit to those things. And I think everyone's not gonna be on the same path about that. But, and this is something you used to bring up on your podcast, it's okay.
It's okay.
But for some people, it's not.
Yeah, and they may show people. They may have people.
Right, yeah. And that's been like one of my biggest adjustments. Like even down to something as simple as like we talked about it before. You would say, Brian, if you're looking at doing tech, don't just look at your own. Just look at people. Like who's doing tech. And it's ironic now because my circle, I value who they are and where they are. But if our conversation ain't tech related or business related, it's not the same.
It hits a little bit differently. When you sit with winners, the conversation looks a lot differently.
Right.
And so it's important that you are not only impeccable with your words, it's impeccable with who you associate and align yourself with.
True.
And so now I commend you for that. But moreover, the more you cultivate your journey, your healing and going back to your authentic self, because all of us were born a way, then life happened and trauma happened and things happened and experiences happened and it shaped us to a something, right? And we've been in that shell for so long that then something happens to trigger us to reevaluate and really kind of deal with all of that suppressions of all of that, what I just, named a few seconds ago. And so, no, you're right. We are right. We're right where we're supposed to be.
Yeah. And it's funny because in talking with you, I found myself having these same forms of conversation with people. Like before we started the show, we had a conversation of an level of helping someone with like, hey, your movement, and I think I used to use like, even though I told, I've talked about it before with like listening to and being a Joe Budden fan. One of his podcasts he did, the title was Read the Room. Everyone's room reading ain't gonna be the same, and you start to learn that along the way. So since we're here, and since I can have a little bit of a free for all talking about it, when I was here last time, I think you sat across from me, we talked. This side of the table was empty. You've added some new members to the table. You want to?
If you see the table now, it's like 100 decks of tarot cards, though, and like markers and shit. So, but no, I get what you're saying.
You're doing the tarot because I know you do tarot. You have the
I do tarot.
Doing the candles.
I do candles. I do all things holistic.
Yeah.
I probably have about 100% success rate. I've not had a bad reading in 3 years. I get more receipts in a day than I post. And so, yeah.
Okay. Does that, and for you, correct me if I'm wrong, for you doing it, it's not you doing it as, look, see what I did. It's, I'm just being obedient.
Let me tell you something, brother. I don't know how in the Sam sausage it was a conference call. My calling was a conference call. You know that meme that's out there that say your calling wasn't a conference call, do it anyway. It's a meme out there. That, right. Okay. That's not my story, right? My shit was definitely a conference call. It was, the ancestors, a couple of angels, a couple of deities. It was a couple of people. And then I got a memo that I needed to be at a meeting. And it was a round table discussion. They were like, so you've been chosen. And I was like, oh, what'd that look like? And, and I'm paraphrasing and making light of it.
Of course,
right. But I don't do this for, kicks and giggles. I do this as, I'm being obedient. So
you're not a clout chaser?
Fuck. Hell no.
No, you're not.
Right. That part. I know. You right. I know. Listen, you know me personally. Like, I'm okay sitting in the house, looking at TV, chilling. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we're going to get into all of that later because we got content for days, but not a cloud chaser, not like pick me, I'm a reader, let me read for you. I'm not in your inbox, like none of that. Not about to go
hard to paint. Yeah.
No, I'm
more people come to you for it.
More people come to me for it than I go out searching. Like I'm out as a reader. I'm out as a healer. I'm out as a sorceress.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm out like I'm out. Like people know it's no secret. I still say there's levels to being out, right?
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of conservative with it. And I know that moving into 2023, I'm probably going to be a little less conservative with it because Spirit says, okay, it's time.
Time to bump it up a notch.
It's time to bump it up a notch, right? Yeah. And so, I'm just, some days I be like, how in the hell did I get here?
Right.
Because this was not what I intended, what I planned for, what I thought. I mean, yeah. And the thing about it is, people who know me when I have conversations with friends, like day ones and day twos and some day threes, they be like, "Oh, you always kind of was a little different." You know what I'm saying? You dance to the beat of your own drum. You wore your hair in a turban, and you know what I'm saying. Yeah. You was always very discerning in your delivery, and so we're not surprised. And I'm like, really? Like
because for you were just going through your regular motions, and I think for a lot of people, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
You good.
But I notice it as, and this is with anybody, when we're doing things, we do things. We don't pay attention to what others are seeing, but when folks come back and say, yeah, you was doing, I was like,
so did you see it? Could you tell? Or, I mean, if you couldn't.
So let's circle, let's do a fun full circle now.
Okay, cool.
When we had the conversation 3 years ago, the convo came up in the podcast, and I'm paraphrasing. Brian, how was I when I was in school? Did I really talk to you, or were you really talkative? And I told you at the time, I was like, I was the quiet kid. I really didn't talk to a lot of people. And the ironic part is why I bring that up. I've had somebody I've talked to recently who was like, it's interesting now seeing you do a podcast, but compared to how quiet you were in school, right? Right. So I'm circling back and saying it now because when you were in school, when you were doing your thing, you were you. You really didn't have like a limitation on yourself. That's my observation and my understanding of it. Okay. And so because of that, in your childhood, pre 20, pre legal to drink, whatever, it's like I'm living, I'm chilling. When people sit and say they circle back and think about it, it's like, Maiesha won't for but you won't for play at that time,
right?
And because people understood that it's because everything comes down to respect at the end of the day. Like with me, I was like I think I talked about it on that show. I was the nerd, I was the techie, but I was like the guy that was like, I knew he went to school, I just didn't know who he was when he did. Right. And in your case, I felt like it was the same way. You just kind of flowed with your day, right? Not even like you were hovering through the hallways, right. But
so what I hear you say is, in hindsight, which is 2020, you're not surprised.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think it's not. It didn't surprise me only because now, like anything, and I think you brought this up on my podcast or you brought it up on a show you've done. Sometimes life gonna sit your ass down,
and it definitely should set my ass down.
Yeah, but it's like when you are like, what got me to that point? It's like, all right, we here. I gotta sit. Like sitting with it, sitting in it, just sitting in general. It's like, all right, what we got? What we gonna do? Mm-hmm. And that's. In my observation of it, that's what I think happened.
Yeah, because I still be like thinking back then, like, and I be like, damn. But yeah, this.
Because your famous phrase, and I still remember it. I can't make this shit up.
I can't make this shit up.
Like at all.
At all.
No.
This shit, I cannot make none of this shit up.
Oh. Like, let's have this combo. I'm like I said, I'm sober today because I'm chilling. But let's talk about it real quick. I'm not using your show title, but
no, you're good.
There have been interactions in the den that I've had to just sit and not talk because I was just like, there's so much that just was said. and you would sit there and you was like, I mean, if you wanted the truth,
yeah,
you came in
with that part. And you know what? I wasn't doing cards then, right? And so now I still use that same sentiment when people, I'd be like, you can go anywhere, but don't come to me and ask for a reading, request a reading, and don't want to know the truth. Like, it gets very real really, really quickly. And when I say that I can't make this shit up. Like, people still ask me, do you be surprised, what's your most bizarre reading? and I say this very openly and very respectfully and very candid, and it's not me clout chasing when I say that I have did readings for preachers and people heavily in the church.
Heavily titled
in the church.
Yeah.
I
was
heavily in the church and heavily titled in the church. Right, all of it. Yeah. I have clients who are currently on trial for serious crimes, have been on trial for serious criminal cases, criminal crimes, violent crimes. I've been consulted for missing kids, missing people. Of course, everybody want to, know if they're in a relationship, if it's Mr. Right or Mr. Right now, Miss Right now. Husbands, wives, I've called infidelity, you name it.
I bit my tongue.
Why?
Because I had to mute the mic for what I was about to say.
What you was about to say? Say it.
No, because you had some people you're giving information like that. If y'all heard that, I'm sorry.
Listen, you know me. It's whatever.
Because it was some info that, like I said, that's why I said the info Pat was presented right,
and if you go back and listen to some of those,
because I think you did a heavy show one time.
I've done a few heavy shows, and I remember one in particular where the download. So when I say download, that means that Spirit has dropped a thought, a message in my head, in my psyche, for me to deliver to someone, and it comes, and it just comes, and sometimes I'm aware of it, and sometimes I'm not.
Right.
Most of the time, I say it, and I can forget it the next day. Like it's like I need somebody to come back and be like, "Well, you said this yesterday." I'll be like, "I said that."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so another show for another title for another show, another day. But if you listen to some of the shows, there's one or two where I do unpack. I empty the clip a little bit on some folks.
Visually over, like, not obviously I don't have a visual of it, but I'm over it nodding my head like, yeah.
I remember, child. Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, and even down to just some people, but on the same token, I think people need to hear it. Like, they need to know what is, because I mean, even for myself, like, there were conversations we've had on the podcast, and I'm sitting there like,
the conversation piece is just heavy.
Yeah.
And then my stance on it might make it even heavier. Right. And if you're on the journey or you're healing, then there's going to be some triggers.
Right.
Like, I know that I would trigger the fuck out you. Like, I will. And the thing about it is, it's done, it's performed, the intent of it is impeccable to heal you and free you and release you to get you on to your next whatever. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's never done maliciously. And that's what I tell people, like, I'm not a nice person. I'm a good person.
Which is why it's important not to take it personal.
Which is why it's good not to take it personal. Yeah. And then you want someone that is very impeccable, very authentic, very clear, and intuitive. You always want an intuitive friend. Yeah. You want to have an intuitive connection, some way, form, or fashion. And people do call me and say, what you think about this? And I give more free readings away than people realize. I give free information away more than that part, child.
Raise his hand.
You know what I'm saying? Don't call me and say I'm one of those people, one of those healers that if you are caught between a rock and a hard plate, call me up and say, "Hey, can you help me with this?" Don't sit and wait until the tower comes and your back is up against the wall and now you got this short of a window for help. Right. No, pick the phone up and call me and say, "Look, I ain't got no money, but can you help me with this? What you think about this?" And I'm going to do what I can. Of course. Because I don't do this for clout. I don't do this for money. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I don't, which is why I continue to be blessed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's my spell on that. Okay. Yeah.
And I promise the clout term was not to throw. It was just a general statement.
No.
I'm here for
because people I see that. Like, I see it. And the thing about it is, they playing Russian roulette. You know what I'm saying?
5 out of 6. Yeah, like that. I'm not really the full.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head. I'm shaking my head. You can't see, but I'm looking at him shaking my head because the impossible. What? Do I have that? And do I? Right. And the thing about it is, because spirituality is trending. Let me tell you something. People are tested. I'm tested. And me having that experience today at my what's my thing?
Acupuncture
session today. You know, having that meditation experience confirms, you know, that I'm real, that I'm authentic, that I was chosen, that I'm awakened. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that I'm about this life. 110%.
Right.
So don't let the necessary occur, because I would do the necessary for me and mine, right? But people gonna be tested. You know what I'm saying? I know some folks who were uber 100 down spiritual. I know some famous readers that were 100%. They were readers. They were intuitive, and then they just went back to, you know, the church, and that's okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That, like, people have free will. We can get into that another time, but
you got about 8 topics off my show.
Oh yeah, I got plenty of content.
Like content. I'm like, I can send you. I'm about to write these. Hey, these are some starters. You
yeah, right. And that's the thing. Like, this is what, you know, me even, you know, falling off the podcast initially. Like, it wasn't in vain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we could talk about a bunch of, you know, low vibrational shit. Whether relationships and this, that, and the other, but the reality of it is that people do need healing.
Yeah.
People want to be set free. People are like, I see these people. I have a lot of people that are battling depression and anxiety and mental health, and they come here. You know what I'm saying? And be surprised what a 45 minute to 60-minute reading and deviation would do for a person.
Right.
And so I take that very seriously, right? And then I know some counselors who have said Maiesha prices is higher than my prices. And you know what I'm saying? And it's real. Like, that's another subject, because people bitch around and complain about your prices. So, you know, I'm looking at doing a sliding scale.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Move the goalposts where necessary.
Come on now.
Yeah.
I'm going to move the goalposts when necessary, because I'm a light work. I'm a healer. And so I believe in giving people
that light work part.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that, right? And
Right.
so the content looks a little bit different. The energy is going to be different. Everything's going to be different this time or go around.
Okay. Where can I go with that? So, this will be an early secret.
Okay.
It'll be a public announcement now. So, and it'll come up on episode. So I didn't do this on purpose. This is like I said. This is episode 359. The episode I have with the guys is gonna be 360, because it's all coming full circle.
It's coming full circle.
Right. But it's interesting because now I'm looking at it as how important it is so my theme for this year was unfinished business.
I like that.
My theme for next year is I'm going I call it the Rihanna route of shine bright like a diamond. I
know that's right.
Because I've realized personally, and I'm bringing it up because you brought up the, you know, being a light to people. I really started to notice more and more with people who contact me or people who reach out that some people really don't have any light in their life. And I think for you, like you're probably like, you've been obviously by far, you've been a person that's provided light for me with different
Thank
things.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, vice versa. Like we've helped.
Yeah.
Like when I hear people say this with basketball, I hear it and I don't ever think about it. It's like iron sharpens iron. Like you should have folks that like help you get to that level. So I bring that up. I'm gonna pocket those two thoughts, but I want to ask you, because this is just a random question, because it might be something that you're doing now. Give the listeners a general idea of your inbox. My bad.
Listen,
is this safe?
I'm gonna just read one right now. So what's the question to make sure?
Just a day of your inbox. Like what?
Let's just say at 6:47, somebody sent me a picture, and you can. I'm not gonna. You can see. I'm just glancing. Sent me a picture,
right?
And what she says is, basically, I really, 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 really need to talk to you about something. This is spiritual. Friend, this is really important. Please, you are the only one that will understand what I have to talk to you about. Hello, my pretty friend. How are you doing? I really do need to speak to you, Maiesha Hawkins. Right. This was Friday, 10:30, Friday, 10:57, today at 9:55, and again at 1:09. And then I did have a conversation with her.
Gotcha.
So that's indicative of what my inbox looks like. Yeah. This was yesterday at 2:51 a.m. Good. I'm doing okay. I need to schedule a reading. And this is 3:00 in the morning.
Right.
And of course I scheduled that reading this morning at 3:00 for today at 8:00.
Yeah.
And so that's what it looks like, right? This is, hello, retrograde is approaching. Can you help me with that?
Yeah.
And so that's what it looks like. It looks like people jumping in my inbox, and I don't want to say, and when I say jumping, I'm not being like facetious or you know what I'm saying, but people
like genuinely reaching out.
Yeah, genuinely reaching out and needing one design. Like people are in need of healing, help, guidance. People are suffering.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I am a light worker, and people see that, and so it's crazy because I give you 2 other small examples. Like the other day, I was walking across the street, and it was a person in front of me, and we were walking across the street, and somebody was walking across in the opposite direction. So we crossed it, and the guy looked up, and he kind of like jumped back when he looked up to see me and saw me. And the guy that was in front of me was like, man, what's wrong? And he was like, is that your bodyguard? Right. And he was like, no, that's my homegirl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Did you have RBF? Rest of bitch face?
I was just...
You was in your... No, the reason...
I literally was just like... you know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell?
I've had somebody say that. I've had someone give me that interaction saying when I walk around, they're like, you just look mad, like you about to fight. And I was like...
But I think he was taking a...
different,
I think it was the energy. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha,
and I say that because I know that I'm severely, like, protected.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Spiritually, like, really, truly protected. And it was just weird. So I get a lot of stares when I'm in public. Like the other day, I was called a walking angel 3 times by 2 different people in one day. I swear, and this shit scared the fuck out of me. You know what I'm saying? I walked into a store, and the man was like, you look like an angel. And I just was like, I just come here to get,
get some stuff.
Get some stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And I go across the street, me and my homegirl together, and I'm telling the guy to go across the street, and he was like, no, you look like an angel. You look like an angel. Like, and I turned to my homegirl, and I was like, this is why I don't come out. You know what I'm saying? Because when you operate from a really, really high vibration, folks, people, places, things, cats, dogs, people would gravitate to that. And that's 1, with being an empath, 2, being a healer, and 3, you know that you're vibrating extremely, extremely high when you get that type of responses from people who don't know me from a can of paint, child.
Yeah.
And so I stay in the house as much. I stay on the go, but I stay in the house as much as I can. I only go out. I'm intentional. I'm impeccable when I go out.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I know, right?
I'm
just, listen.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like like I said, it's just, I think, and a lot of times it's like people think that you're, like I said, it ain't even about blowing smoke or just capping or whatever. It's just, it's life. Life.
This is our life.
Yeah, life carries you where it carries you. Like I had to get into that acceptance role a couple of years ago, starting to realize, like, all right, I'm between
being an empath.
Being an empath.
That's a lot.
Being a light. Being a driver. When I had to realize I was a driver, that was a whole different debate.
That's a whole different ball. Yeah, I try not to be a driver too much, but I get it by default in some areas. Like I let you drive today, though. I'm like, I don't feel like driving. I drive all my fucking life.
Well, I mean, in your case, but this is you getting the understanding of, like, kind of getting the training wheels back off again and returning back.
Yeah.
But you got about 5 minutes into the show, and I was like, all right, this ain't my show no more. I'm just happy to be here.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I get what you're saying, though. But yeah, as you were saying, to be an empath as you are, as I am, to be a light as we are, and to be a driver, a lot of people don't see what comes with that behind the scenes.
And a famous phrase I told someone who we talked about that I no longer interact with, I gave them this exact phrase: with great power comes greater responsibility.
Listen, friend.
And people think I just say that just to blow smoke, but I'm like, no, that joint is a different ball game.
It's a different ball game.
Especially when you ain't in this position to realize, like, I'm the driver, or even worse, and I think that this is an add-on to what you're experiencing, and I could be wrong. When others start to realize that you're the vibe.
That's another show.
That's a show.
Bruh, listen, that's a gift and a curse.
Oh,
like 1,000%. I used to always say that the calling You know, I used to be like, I don't want it anymore. I'd be like, nah, they can like take this, like Spirit can take this.
Yeah.
It's a gift and a curse. I never say it now. I'm so grateful for it. I have not said that it's a gift and a curse and actually meant it. I'm just saying it for context now, right? But when you first get on the journey, you realize the responsibility and all the taxing on the body, the mind, the soul. You know what I'm saying? You nailed it.
Yeah.
It requires a different something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm drinking Perrier. I used to drink alcohol. Remember, I used to smoke.
Yeah.
Burning benzone and drinking a Perrier right now.
Listen, hey, whatever it takes, whatever puts you, and it's all about getting yourself in the right state too. Because you want to be sure. And that was something. I don't put the questions I got. They still sitting back.
They sitting back there.
But something that you emphasize, and you talked about this on the show we had before, and it's even something you brought up consistently on your podcast. It's something my friends didn't like me saying, but they understand a lot clearer. Like I work with someone who has, I've used this term before called FOMO, fear of missing out. Now, there's balances to it because in your case, you're using your phone, you're actually doing stuff, but you actually listen. I've had people that I work with that because they're so not present that they literally are just like this the whole day. And when I say like unfunctionally able to hold a conversation, horrible. And people know what me like, you know, like with us is different because I know you and I understand like, Brian, it ain't like I'm sitting here not listening. I'm listening.
You hear me listening, and I actually have 4 and can't find 2 of them. Like I'm looking for one now. I called it and it went straight to voicemail. I was like, so great, I lost the phone. But no, I see what you're saying.
I say that just referencing like I think the message of being present really hit home for me because when people like if I'm out with folks or I'm doing stuff and I see they ain't present, I'm like, I could have stayed home.
You sound like my sister. She hated. She's like, do you ever put your phone in? I'd be like, and then when I find that phone, it's probably gonna be like 71. I can take a screenshot of it, a picture of it, and it'd probably be like 71 messages, like literally. But
if you get that exact amount, that'll be kind of scary.
Stranger things have happened.
No. I mean, like I said, I'm making that statement openly, but I'm like, if it happens, it'll be a mixed bag of like, I said it, but then I'm like, I shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
it's like
it happens.
Yeah,
but no, I The Power of Now, and that's a good book I read.
Yeah,
it's a slow reader. It's a very slow. It's not something you're gonna read and enjoy. It's gonna be like, but it's really powerful because it explains the power of being present. Right. Makes you think. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if anybody want a good read, The Power Now.
Throw it in the show notes. I got you.
Okay.
You give you some credit.
I appreciate it.
Along with the website and everything.
Right.
So I got a 2-parter.
Okay.
First, we're gonna do, since we're near the end of 2022.
Okay.
Give your personal overall conversation of your experience of 2022.
Listen, absolutely amazing for me.
Okay.
I would be remiss to say, this was probably the first year in a very, 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 very long time that, I can say that this year was good to me.
Right.
A lot of people, everybody's now, they're going into 2023 this and 2023 that.
New year, new me.
New me. Like, I'm just cruising into 2023. 2022 was probably the best year of besides, giving birth to my kids.
Yeah.
And 18 years ago, 2022 was probably the best year that I've ever had thus far. That don't mean that life didn't life. You know what I'm saying? Life be lifing. What that means is I didn't have a lot of life-and days. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a lot of bad days. I think I had my first bad day probably like in August. And I remember my mom saying, "This is your first bad day this whole year?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah."
Right.
And so she was like, that's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And again, because I learned to find the good and I learned to find gratitude, even in those moments when life was lifing. But 2022, let me tell you something. I said this. If this year is indicative of what my future looks like, it's a yes for me. I ended with that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that ties into my next question.
Mm-hmm.
What does Maiesha have on tap or personally envisions for what 2023 is gonna do or be?
I would say try to compartmentalize everything, right?
Okay.
More content, more pockets.
Okay.
Being a little bit more impeccable with my creativity as far as like my with my content.
Mm-hmm.
That more the retreats, like maybe 1 or 2 more retreats. It looks like an ebook I'm working on manifesting. I have some rituals that I use that I'm going to publish, or an ebook, or one or 2 ebooks.
Okay.
It looks like really being impeccable with my brand, where I am just living.
Yeah.
And so I don't have any like expectations, or I don't do like New Year's resolution. No, I'm over that shit, right? Yeah. So like cliche-ish, like. Mm-hmm. So, but I would say if this is indicative of what the next year looks like, it's a yes for me.
Gotcha. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So when we did this section last time, mm-hmm. it was a 58-minute mark. We're doing it today, and we're at the 54-minute mark. So it's a 4-minute difference. Okay. But as you remember last time, I always like to, and I think you integrated it in your show, which I like.
What?
Which is pass the message. What is a message that you'd like to pass along to the listeners, either about from the show, for the year, whatever the case may be? Open mic.
I would say gratitude opens up the portal for everything. I'm passing that. Like, be grateful for the refrigerator. Be grateful for the door handles, the doorknobs, the buttons on the shirt, the stitching in the shirt, the stitching in the socks. Like, ain't no need to be bitching, whining, complaining about what you don't have, what you missing out on. That if you are grateful for what you have and where you are, that, and you cultivate that energy of gratitude with everything, it opens up the portal for everything else to come into play. And not to have an emotional reaction to nothing. You cannot have an emotional reaction to anything, because what's going to happen is supposed to happen.
Right.
So I would say be impeccable with gratitude.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. I'll piggyback off of that with my closeout. One, like I always do, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
This is another day at the office.
Right, another day at the office. Right. You just got off from work a few hours ago, though.
Yeah, I mean, that part, that's going to tie into my passive message in a good way. Okay. I'll explain. But I can, like, the grind is a grind. I can by far say that I would not expect to be where I'm at with what I'm doing, but I'm thankful, and I'm definitely appreciative of it by far. So yeah, coming here to do the show was like, hey, we're gonna knock it out, get some info out there. Some people's feelings might be hurt.
I've been stepping on their necks and hurting their fucking feelings for years.
So. I mean, hey, but if you operate the right way, it rocks. It goes how it goes. My message that I'm gonna pass along is 3 words. A year ago, I always remind people of this, because I think we sometimes don't realize life is like this, moving. And I always have to tell people, just think of where you were a year ago. I think we talked about this, and this might be my first open share of this on the podcast, because I don't think I shared it last year, but I'm not gonna get too emotional, but it is. I'm thinking about it. Yesterday was my sister's 1 year. Yeah, my sister's 1 year anniversary of her passing. And I think about it a lot now, because I realized she wrote, she did books. I think we talked about it.
We did talk about it.
We talked about it on the last show, Full Circle. But what's interesting about it is she's always been one of those people who always saw that I was into designing, was into being creative, and looking at where I was a year ago, I was where I'm at work wise,
Mm-hmm.
but it was getting to the point of becoming full time. So now to be full time, to be, excelling,
walking in there,
right?
Mm-hmm.
To actually fulfill it and have more things in store. It's super eye opening. So I
Mm-hmm.
always remind people, life can be what life is, but just think of where you were a year ago. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't even have to. Like some people say, "Oh, go back 5." Just do it. Just check a year. Your 1 year.
Check a year.
Yeah,
I like that. Check a year.
Yeah,
You can check 6 months.
True. Yeah,
You really, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And if you're really intentional and impeccable about change and transition and transformation, you can check yesterday for real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So no, that's good. That's a good piece though.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so we gonna see possibly when time allows.
Right. I would say, but shit, because next week I'm out of town and the following week is Christmas. So Christmas falls on a Saturday. So maybe the 26th if we ain't got nothing to do.
You might not be a fan. Christmas on a Sunday.
Christmas is on.
Christmas on Sunday.
We can play it back. Yeah.
And then, if I'm being 100% honest, like, I'm off. I'm gonna be, if it's on that Sunday, I'm off.
Okay.
I don't know how they gonna rock with us.
I know everybody's been asking about conversation.
How do they? Because I know for us, how the holidays gonna be acknowledged is likely gonna be that Monday.
Okay.
I think.
You think?
Even still, all I'm thinking in my head is like, so how does that work for me on that Saturday? Because that's the eve.
That's the eve, right? What you know? What to be present, it'll be just play it by ear.
Yeah, facts. No,
it'll be sooner than later, right?
Yeah.
It won't be a month. It'll be 2 weeks, maybe max. Maybe I can get a short pocket or something.
Yeah,
send to you.
By that point, then we can start, collab and figuring some stuff up. And the good part is, I'm not especially with how I'm with the show now. I'm chilling. I think for you it's just
making the time. No, but I'm
building your piece. And I think now I won't say that it wasn't that you didn't understand it before. I think it was just I'm not sure how it's gonna go. I was looking for everything because I still remember and I'm saying it being silly, but I'm also saying it being real. I remember when it was all right, you came on my show, then we sat down and when we did the first show, you was like, I don't know how this about to go. And it was everybody just, we all got together, we talked, we had our conversation, got a lot of good feedback on how to improve the show, how to get the audio, stuff like that. So now it's just getting consistent, because my goal, I say that. My intentions and my plan for next year is that I want to get away from using this, and I would like to just come in with just a soundboard and microphone. Okay. But that's going to require me, which I know I'm ready to do, to start putting some clients in some seats. Yeah, because I know now, somebody gave me some information that was it's super simple, but I never really paid any attention because we talked about it last week. WordPress and Elementor.
Oh yeah.
Put those two together, I think it's helpful.
It's very helpful.
Yeah. So
sounds like it's a yes for me.
Yeah, we game time. So I appreciate you as always.
Likewise.
As she mentioned, I am Maiesha Hawkins on
Instagram
and Twitter.
Yeah, Maiesha Hawkins on Twitter. I think it's just Maiesha.
Right, just Maiesha Hawkins. Y'all know how I rock. We'll have it all in the show notes. I'll make sure y'all get all the information. And we'll circle that book, Power of Now. Like I said, I have it in my Kindle app to read along with other books. And this will be my last bit, and I'll shut up. The book, Level Up Boot Camp. I'm early into this book, but I want people to know if you want to learn some things about yourself or how to do some self-assessments, just check out that book. That's all I'm going to tell you. But we going to rock with it again. Like I said, it might be on the holidays. Who knows? But until next time, this is The Pass with my back in the building. Y'all take it easy.
Take it easy.
Well, that was definitely a fun show. I hope you all learned something. I hope you all gained some information either about myself or about yourselves, because I know with the message that's passed along, it's usually meant to do a little bit of reflection, maybe some shadow work, not sure, all about your niche or lane. But I want to take time and utilize this section to share. Thank you to anyone who has taken time to listen to the show, to subscribe to the show, to leave any comment, to leave any feedback.
If you want to leave any information, the pastbtpod@gmail.com. Podcasts are uploaded using Buzzsprout, probably one of my favorite platforms to be on. And to all my artists, if you know that you have a gift, share that gift with the rest of us because we're waiting. Until next time, this is the Past signing out. Peace.